Welcome to the Manuchehri podcast. Over the last 30 years, it has been my joy to assist humanity in aligning with their magnificence so they may heal, discover their natural gifts, and communicate with loved ones living on the other side. May you also experience delight while we dance in the powerful, intuitive world of energy. Let's get going. Welcome to our Energy Meets the Divine. I'm excited that we get to hang out together again. And before we go to the phone lines, I really want to talk about the bigger picture because this is the real reason why people reach out for psychics, intuitives, energy healers, is because we can provide the bigger picture for individuals. But honestly, you could get your own big picture. You just will need to meditate, rest, get quiet. This is what allows you to even do inner work to find out what it is that the universe is trying to bring into your consciousness so that you can move forward. So the big picture is really fun. It's interesting, exciting. It's very healing. It won't make a lot of sense to the logical mind. In fact, intuition rarely, if ever, makes sense to the logical mind. But if you could spend more time using your energy to get to the bigger picture versus trying to get your logical mind to understand something that it cannot, life is going to be a lot easier for you. You're going to have way more fun. If you have a problem in your life, let's say about wealth, you need to have the bigger picture experience so that you can move through whatever belief systems that are not in your highest good so that you can change your perception. So part of getting in touch with the bigger picture is embracing what you're experiencing right now. Learning to go, okay, well, this is it. Not blaming yourself, not shaming yourself, not blaming others, not creating more problems because you think terrible things of yourself, regardless of the topic. You want to be able to get into a place where you can look at, let's say if it's financial things and you're annoyed and you're frustrated, maybe you've worked really hard. You would love to be in a particular place with your resources. Good. That's great. Everyone deserves to have that. Can you first just appreciate where you are? Find things to value and enjoy about yourself on the topic that you want to change. And that doesn't happen overnight. It might take you a couple of days. It could take you a couple of weeks. It could take you a couple of months, but you are worth the effort because where you're heading is the bigger picture. And in order to get to the bigger picture, you have to have a different resolution of perhaps smaller things that the logical mind likes to focus on and try to make it the bigger picture and slow us down and weight us down and, upset the ego, make us feel terrible, which doesn't allow us to raise our vibration and get into the bigger picture. You want to get into the bigger picture. And I think even psychically, just having that idea is going to help you enormously. It's like, okay, my logical mind thinks this, but I want to get into the bigger picture in this topic. And you can tell when you've gotten into the bigger picture because you start to relax. You start to feel more curious. You begin to feel great about yourself. You are not hyper-focused on lack. You're not like, oh, where is this thing that I've been wanting for so long? You start to move in a more gentle, loving, curious vibration, which is where the bigger picture lives. So you first appreciate whatever you can appreciate about the thing that you wish would change. And I mean authentically. This is not a fake it till you make it activity. In fact, I don't really believe in that phrase. I think it's a weird phrase, honestly. I think it's bizarre. You want to have authentic feelings about it. So let's say if it's about wealth, maybe a couple of years ago, you had a really good year and you were able to put some money away. Maybe your car's been doing great and it hasn't needed any repairs. Whatever the circumstances are that you can authentically appreciate it, I want you to spend time in the feeling of appreciation. That's what opens up the universe. That's what opens your psychic ability. That's what gets you into the bigger picture is appreciation. It's a very high frequency energy. So you spend some time appreciating rather than hyper focus on, oh, but I didn't save last year. Or, oh my gosh, with my car 10 years ago, it was in the shop for weeks and weeks and weeks. Don't go back to these old scenarios. Stay on whatever you can authentically appreciate now. And again, I don't care where it is in your previous experiences, but only stay focused in the things that you can value and appreciate, because it's going to open up your energy. So your energy starts to open. You start to feel lighter, curious, happier, appreciative of things that you were overlooking, that you hadn't paid attention to. And you're now understanding that appreciation is a powerful energy. That's the time when you start to get into this frequency that you start to communicate with the universe about, please show me the bigger picture. If it's about relationships, a wonderful career, your health, you need the bigger picture. You need to move past all the logical answers that humans are not happy with, not satisfied with, that don't give them what they want. You want to move past all of that. So you have to be in a completely different vibration and frequency to get to the bigger picture, because there are really cool reasons why things happen. If you've ever had something in your life that you didn't like, you wish had never occurred, and then it resolves itself. Whether you did inner work about it or not, it somehow resolves itself. But in the meantime, you learn something very important, specific even, and you may start to appreciate the thing that was holding you back, because you learned so much because of its presence. So that is an aspect of the bigger picture, but the really big picture is very magical. It's special. It's very loving. It's fun. It's surprisingly shocking how incredible it is. And that's where you want to have your awareness. That's your goal, is to seek, experience, or be in the vibration of the bigger picture every single day. And this is what psychics do. This is what intuitives do. We provide a bigger picture so that people can heal their bodies, release their grief, find something very fulfilling for them, or many, many things that are fulfilling for them. That's what we do. We show them the bigger picture. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go to the phone lines now and start to answer some questions.
Hi, Marie. This is Priscilla from Delaware. Last month, my nephew Joshua and his wife Angela lost their baby.
Oh,
They were 3 weeks away
oh,
from his due date, and
yeah.
he died in utero. And my question, I have two questions about this. First, I know you have said that we choose our, let's see, how'd you say, we choose what we want to do in our lives when we come here as our soul. And why would someone choose to come
Yeah.
into a uterus and then not even experience anything on earth? I don't understand that. And they never found out what happened. Just so it's so sad, and I'm just can't stop thinking about it. If you can answer any of these questions, I would really appreciate it. Thanks, Mary.
Thank you, Priscilla. And I'm so sorry for you and your family. That is probably one of the worst things to happen. And it happens. And I don't think doctors talk about it very often because it's even shocking to them. Women typically are getting weekly checkups, as they move towards or into their last trimester. So they're getting a lot of checkups. They're listening to heartbeats and checking ultrasounds if they need to, if they have any concerns. But unfortunately, this does happen. And it's not unusual that they can't find out why the baby died. Because I think if there was something going on, it probably could have been detected. If something were going on with the baby, they would have perhaps detected it, at least be able to prepare the family if there was nothing they could do, or do some intrauterine surgeries or deliver the baby early. So unfortunately, that's also not uncommon. So to help answer your question, the womb is its own universe. There's a whole universe inside our bodies. There's a whole universe in every finger that you have, the tip of your nose, behind your eyes. There's a whole universe in everything. That's why the present moment is so fun. It's chocked through with all kinds of experiences that can lead us to the bigger picture, what we were talking about before I listened to your question. So the baby was having an experience. Many times the soul doesn't enter the womb until delivery, until birth. But beings who don't want to be born, like your nephew's baby did not want to be born. So there's no accidents. Things actually are occurring as a soul hopes that they would, especially before birth, and a lot of times in early childhood as well. So the baby wanted to be loved, adored, and cherished, and wanted to heal something about that. Perhaps it had a few lifetimes where a woman didn't have any control over her body and had too many children and was exhausted and tired. I can think of my own family. My parents were devout Catholics. They both went to Catholic schools. My mother, whenever she would write in her diary, she'd write, "Dear Virgin Mary." That was how she entered her diary. And my little brother, which was the fifth child, shortly after he was born, he had got a viral form of spinal meningitis. He was in and out of the hospital for months and months. I think about a year and a half he was sick. And both of my parents actually went to their priest. They were kind of naive and they thought, well, if we just tell the priest we need some birth control, then the priest will say, sure, you already have 5 kids and your youngest is ill. Sure. But of course, they excommunicated my mom. And what I'm trying to say is women haven't always had autonomy with their bodies. I mean, currently we're having a problem with that in many of the states in the US. So if a person has had multiple lifetimes where perhaps they were a fetus being formed and the parents didn't want the baby, but they couldn't end the pregnancy for whatever reason, maybe there is some hurt about it, or maybe someone just never felt totally loved, adored, and cherished as a child. Some parents are really busy, and this would be generations ago, many lifetimes ago, because souls are always working on previous lifetimes. We're not really working on the lifetime that we are having, although it looks like it, smells like it, tastes like it, feels like it, but we're not. We're working on previous lifetimes. So this soul wanted to be loved, adored, and cherished, which it was. It just didn't want to live in a human body. And your nephew and his lovely wife, and again, I'm so sorry for what happened. Typically, when we lose someone young, whether we lose a child or our parents die when we're young or a spouse dies when they are young, the people who are surviving, especially the people closest to the lost, they really want to work on letting go. So this is something that they put into action before they even reincarnated, before they even moved into their own wombs. Like, I really want to learn how to let go. But here's the good news about this story. And yes, there is good news. I think they will have children, not to worry about that. And they're going to watch her like a hawk, which is great. Sometimes when things happen, like if someone has a heart attack, or in this case, a fully formed, baby that could have lived outside of the womb passes away and nobody knows why. When your nephew's wife gets pregnant again, her physicians are going to watch her like a hawk, which will, I think, bring her comfort and give them the security and the confidence that they need to produce the children that they will have. But they will have children. And I'm very, very, very sorry this happened. Earth is such an interesting place. You can get a lot of things solved through weird circumstances that don't come to the mind of humans, because most humans don't understand that there is a bigger picture to everything. And we forget that we're souls. Many humans forget that we're souls, and having a human experience is just a part of our cellular activity. So I'm very sorry. And I do think there is some peace in not knowing why. I know, I'm not saying the parents feel that way, but it is not uncommon for physicians to not know, even if they do an autopsy, they don't know why the baby died. Yeah, I'm very, very sorry. It does happen. Thank you so much for leaving the question.
Hi, Marie. I hope you can hear me. I'm leaving a message inquiring from Massachusetts, inquiring about the medical medium diet, what your thoughts are on Anthony Williams' diet. He basically is low-fat, gluten-free, salt-free, oil-free, high in all sorts of wonderful, healthy, organic fruits and vegetables diet. And I was just wondering your thoughts on him and his work, if you're familiar. And then I was also wondering your thoughts on raw veganism in general.
Yeah.
and their effect on the digestive system.
Right.
If you think that is better for you than
Don't.
like a cooked combo diet of like cooked sweet potatoes or butternut squash, wholesome soups that are heavy in these kinds of starchy plant, like squashes and stuff. I was wondering what you think, or what you know, I should say. And then just wanted to say thank you for opening a window in my perception that death is no longer scary to me. And that's
Oh,
been really, really exciting. Have a beautiful day. Bye.
thank you, Christina. So, the medical medium, beautiful books with gorgeous pictures of fruit and vegetables. I think it's really, really great that there's these books so that people can start to realize how wonderful it is to eat fruits and vegetables and healthy food. Because a lot of people don't. A lot of people in the United States do not eat healthy food. They eat lots of processed food. They drink lots of pop. They drink too much alcohol. So I think he's done a great job of bringing that into our awareness and really enticing people to get curious about food. Because honestly, you can have a clean diet not by working very hard. I'm not a fan of gluten, so I support that. I'm just not a one size fits all. And I think the medical medium, the books anyway, I've never met the gentleman, so I don't know what his thought processes are. I think a lot of his, um, I shouldn't say his, but I think whenever we're approaching something out of fear, it doesn't really help us in the way that it could. So if eating a raw vegan diet makes you feel good and it raises your vibration, then you're on the right track. I do think a lot of people can't handle eating a lot of raw vegetables. It's hard on the digestive system. Some people can. I'm a fan of the blood type diet written by a naturopath, Dr. Diodamo, I believe is his name. Um, but again, everybody has to just go by what makes you happy. Because I did have a client who had some intractable back pain. It wasn't constant, but when it hit this person, they were down for days, and they did the medical mediums diet and their back pain went away. It was very strict, extremely strict diet, but their back pain went away. One thing we have to remember is that what's creating dis-ease in the body are emotions, how the energy is moving in your body, not feeling emotions or being caught up in mind-made emotions. And so, of course, eating healthy is critical and important. It doesn't matter how you get there or what you like. It needs to feel good to your body. Your body needs to value and appreciate what you're putting in it. The body will even tell you, no, give me all the raw vegetables I want. Then that's what that person should be eating. Or maybe for a period of time, individuals want to eat strictly a raw vegan diet. So I think, again, we have to listen to our bodies and pick what's best for us and realize that when we do find something that feels really good and looks really good and our body's happy, it doesn't mean our body's going to be happy with it forever. It might only need it for a period of time and then it wants a break. So it's important to constantly check in with your body. But I think the medical medium books are beautiful. They're well written, and I think they entice people to be interested in a healthy, wonderful diet. And we don't even have to use the word diet, but just food. For example, this is what I had for breakfast. I had shredded cabbage, lightly stir fried with some olive oil and some asparagus with 2 eggs inside. I've kind of scrambled it up. So that's what I had for breakfast. And then some oranges, some small oranges. Now, when you buy food, it's also important to buy organic as much as possible because the rest of our food is sprayed with chemicals, and organic food is sprayed. It can be sprayed as well, but it's with chemicals that don't cause as much toxicity to us, right? So you want grass-fed meat if you're going to eat meat, which I do. My body really needs a high protein diet. So some people who don't need high protein would do great on a vegan diet. Other people who need high protein would not do great on a vegan diet. That's why I love the blood type diet because, and of course, this is not everyone as well. Like people are unique, the way they run their energy, the way their emotions are in the body, the way it affects their biochemistry. So some people who are, because in the blood type book, O type people are meant to have a higher protein diet with less carbohydrates. That would be me. But I met someone once who um, was an O type person, but the way their body chemistry was energetically, they were really more of an A. They really didn't need a lot of high protein in their body. And so A people, people who have A blood type or even um, forms of it, they have a different digestive enzyme pattern in their system. They're the newer blood type. And so they can digest carbohydrates and have them work as proteins, whereas O blood types don't do it as easily. But everyone's unique and different. So follow what makes you happy, read the books that bring you joy, follow the diets that help support your body. And then remember, nothing is carved into stone. Your body may want a change. Uh, I met someone who had never been vegan their whole life. And then when their body changed in their 50s, they became a vegan and it made their body very happy. So biochemistry is always changing in our body as our cellular systems also begin to change. But yeah, beautiful books. And I think it's wonderful for humanity to be encouraged to know more about the food we eat and what's healthy. What is health? It's not potato chips and pop and licorice ropes, which all sound really good to me, but my body would not like that at all. Okay, thank you so much.
Hi, Marie. This is Renee. I live in Bend, Oregon, but I'm up here in Seattle visiting my daughter. I've been here for a month. I go home tomorrow. She's really had a rough time of it. And I'm just hoping you can do a general reading on what's going on with her because, I mean, it's a long story, but the short story is anorexia when she was a teen, and then endometriosis surgery a couple years ago. And then she's 42. She finally met the man of her dreams. And then they were walking in Discovery Park and he got hit by a tree and now he's paralyzed and brain damaged. And while that was happening too, a year ago, she got hit with this massive neuropathy, tendinopathy in the arms thing, and she's an accountant, and so she works at the computer all day. So, and 10 years ago, she had breast implants. So her last ditch, I mean, she's tried everything with physical therapy and just so much. And so her last thing was like, I'm getting these breast implants removed. These things, no, they've got to come out. Because she just reacts to every little thing that goes into her body, and so she got them out, and she was hoping that was the silver bullet with the neuropathy and the tendinopathy, but it wasn't. And she had a really bad attack last night, and I have to go home now. So, and I've been here a month. So if you could just, give us a hint of what's going on, that would be great. I really work hard to separate myself from this kid and let her be who she is. But, she needs help. She doesn't really have anybody else to help her. So I came up to help her with her boyfriend's issues and all her grieving and now this. So it's been tough. It's been a tough time. Anyway, thanks for everything you do. I listen to your podcast and I hope that I can talk to you soon. I'll hear from you soon. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Renee. I hope you had a safe trip back to Bend, Oregon. My sister and my nephew and 2 nieces live in Bend, Oregon. It's a really lovely town. It's lovely. And I'm very sorry for all the heartache your daughter has gone through. There is a strong wave of victimization. And of course, it's all logical. Like, who wouldn't feel victimized with these things happening in your life? How could you not? But the emotion is there first before we start to track the findings that are connected to it. So learning how to vibrate out of the frequency of victimization. The good news in terms of, we have a lot of astrological things changing, and sometimes we get kind of stuck in a rut when astrological signs are connected to certain planets. I know Saturn, I believe, is moving into Aries, someone said. So we're having some big shifts. We've just had Neptune move out of Pisces and move into Aries. So perhaps these new astrological shifts will help her, but learning to find the beauty in things would be wonderfully effective for her. And I know it's really challenging under any of these circumstances, not to mention all of these circumstances, but it's probably something she really wants to learn in this lifetime, how to not be in the vibration of victimization, right? That's probably something her soul wanted before she incarnated. I'm very happy she got the breast implants out. I'm not a fan. Unfortunately, the FDA can even put silicone into breast implants still. It does, I guess, create a better look, without ridges showing and things of that nature. But the plastic in itself, even when people have normal saline put into the implants and then plastic is put into your body, the plastic breaks down. So I think that was a good call. And just know that it takes a while for the immune system to kick back up. It doesn't happen overnight. Like you get breast plants taken out and then you feel better. It could take months. It could take years. It just depends on the person and how their immune system's been affected. And hers has really been affected. I have a sneaky suspicion her mitochondria are really tired. So as many people know, I'm a fan of near infrared and red light therapy because it actually feeds the mitochondria. It starts to feed the body with energy. And then when the body starts to have more energy, it can then create a healthier immune system. So that's what I would recommend. But I'm very, very sorry. And as a mom, it'll be important for you to also get into high frequency for your daughter, right? Even all of these things that have happened, and she's so lucky to have you. And thank you for taking care of her. What a blessing. What a blessing that is. But could you start to have more positive feelings about your daughter's life? And so that requires you not focusing on what's really happening or what has happened, but being in a high frequency of, what if my daughter is surrounded by joy? So if you could be in the place of, what if my daughter is in pure living joy? And what if her body is happy too? And whenever we use positive what if questions, we don't want to have an expectation of what it looks like. You've got to detach and get away from all the things you want to occur and just repeat the questions silently in your mind, maybe when you're going for a walk or folding laundry, making food, driving perhaps, just so that your brain's doing some sort of other activity so it doesn't try to come in and force certain things into action. Yes, keep me posted. I want to know how everything goes. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Have a beautiful and gorgeous day. Oh, we do have 2 more spots on the Ireland trip. So if you're thinking of going to Ireland and experiencing the joyful, intuitive method, we've got 2 more spots. We leave in July for a lovely week just outside of Dublin. Joyful blessings. Bye-bye for now.